Okay, we are recording, I think.
Yes, you are.
Yes, okay, we are. We'll call the Soundview Commission meeting to order at 7:36, July 27th, 2020. First order of business is to welcome our new alternate member, Paul Orzel. Paul was appointed at the two
Board of
Board of Selectmen meetings ago. So Paul, welcome.
Thank you.
Looking forward to your phenomenal insights into the Soundview area. Approval
Feels
of
like
minutes.
deja vu all over again.
Deja vu all over again. Yes. Approval of minutes of June 22nd. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for June 22nd?
I think somebody might be muted.
I'll move to approve them.
I'll second. Kelsey.
Okay, we have Joanne motion to approve and Dave Kelsey seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we have Joanne and Dave Kelsey. I need to have Harry. Harry, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Did you, are you yea or nay on the approval of the minutes?
There's two of Harry.
Harry, are you sitting next to Jackie because you guys are feeding back?
I told her she had, but she won't listen.
One of you guys has to go to another room, please. Okay.
I am in another room.
Computer.
Okay.
Or like another world.
Any votes against approval? Any abstain? All right, the motion is moved to approved. Okay, next item of business is connectivity grant. I see we have Mary Jo on with us. I believe I saw her here a few minutes ago. She's still here?
Here.
Yeah. So stop me if I go off track on the connectivity grant. So we had our last meeting last Friday, and as you may recall, everyone, our initial cost estimates from the engineer were higher than our budgeted grant. So we went back to the engineer and asked them to pare down some of the improvements to get back to basics, which included a 5-foot sidewalk on Hartford Avenue from Bocce to Shore Road, a 5-foot sidewalk on the north side of Shore Road, which would connect from Cross Lane to the police station, the Hartford Avenue buffer strip, which is called the utility strip, where the mailboxes will be posted, and also areas for trash cans. Rather than being a concrete buffer strip, will be a grass buffer strip. The curb was originally planned as concrete, and we went back to bituminous curbing. And with that, we're looking at, we're much closer to hitting the $400,000 grant mark. The engineers right now are working with the State Department of Transportation to get approval on the plan for Shore Road, because Shore Road, again, is a state road. The DOT has to approve it. They don't anticipate any problems, but until we get the final okie dokie, we can't move forward with doing anything on Shore Road at this point. So once we get the final word on that, if there's any changes, we'll go back and modify the plan and get it ready for a bid. There are several properties on Hartford Avenue with resident concerns. The concerns revolve around a couple of things. One is water that flows from the street onto their private properties right now. There's some drainage issues. Those drainage issues started were exacerbated when the Hartford Avenue was the width was cut down from its original size to a little smaller. So with the new sidewalks and the buffer strip, we anticipate that the water runoff will, rather than go to on people's properties, will go to the street. So there'll be a good portion of water that's currently going onto individual properties will be moved to the street. There'll also be a lip on each driveway curb cut so that the water will be channeled on the gutter rather than go into individual properties. The engineer is going to be meeting with individual homeowners along with a variety of people from the committee over 3 possible Saturdays in June to discuss with each homeowner what the situation will be with the sidewalk in front of their property. There's been some miscommunication and misunderstanding of what the program is. So we're hoping that when the engineers have the opportunity to talk one-on-one with the property owners, they can fix some of the fears that they may have. There will, of course, be some issues with the sidewalk being closer to a front step, front stoop than is now on private property. But it needs to be, everybody needs to be aware that we are not taking any private property. All the work we're doing is on town property, on town right away. So the property right now is a town property. Whether people are parking on it or not.
Just hung up. I can't hear. Okay, give me a minute.
Okay, Mary Jo, did I hit all the high points?
Perfect, Frank.
No, well, it's not perfect, but are there any questions where we are in terms of the program? So what will happen next is when we meet with the individual property owners and have the final word from the DOT, will be able to put together a public informational session. It will probably be on Zoom or on WebEx. The drawings and everything will be available at the town hall for people to see, and we'll do the public information session on a WebEx meeting, so everybody has the opportunity to see and hear from the engineers, from the committee, and from the selectmen about what's going on. We're probably looking at not going out to bid until later this year, and for a spring construction rather than a fall construction. Originally, we had hoped to do a fall construction, but it looks like we'll probably be looking more towards a spring construction. With the individual property owner concerns, we want to make sure that we've addressed all of those before we move forward with anything. So, commission members, are there any questions that anybody might have from the commission? Okay. Next item is Connecticut Water. There's really nothing new in Connecticut Water. Somebody did bring up a question to me earlier a couple of weeks ago regarding Connecticut Water doing work up on the one of the extensions. I don't know whether it's Hartford or Portland or Swan, but they started. They started at 7:30 early in the morning. The original plan was for Connecticut Water to be done on Hartford, Portland, and Swan by the end of June, and also Pond Road by the end of June. They were always allowed throughout the entire project to continue their work on Shore Road and the extensions throughout the summer months. So the work that Connecticut Water is doing right now is on the extensions. They may be moving into same side of the street laterals sometime this summer, and after Labor Day they'll move and start putting in the cross street laterals on Hartford, Portland, and Swan. So I don't know of any other change regarding Connecticut Water. That was the only question that arose regarding their operations. Commission members, any questions, comments? Otherwise,
I have a
Yes,
question. It's Michaela.
yes.
Are they allowed to start that early, 7:30? I thought it was 8.
I don't know if we have any kind of ordinance in town regarding construction activity. Do we? Anybody have any insight into that?
We do. Ordinance that 7 o'clock Monday through Friday and 8 o'clock on the weekends.
So it is.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I'm sure they're not making it difficult for people. They just need to get it done. And I think, for the short amount of time they're working up there, it's a good idea just to get them in and out of there as quickly as possible.
You want a break?
Okay, I have no new information. Any other questions, commission members on the Connecticut Water?
No.
Nope.
Sewers, I have no new updates that we really can comment on, other than if you listen to the last WPCA meeting. The WPCA has hired their own appraisers, and they're moving forward with their approach. So just keep an eye on it, and we'll as soon as something happens, we'll report it here in our commission meeting. Beach review. Commissioners, any conversation on how the beach is going in terms of the capacity restrictions or anything of that nature? Harry, how's it looking as far as trash?
Miami is suffering the most, especially on the side closest to the Sound View Beach. Trash is really very heavy in that area. The rest of the beach is pretty light, and overall, it's busier than normal.
So you're finding more trash close to the Sound View area?
Yeah,
How's it compared to Sound View?
I put 3 people down there in the morning to clean up the garbage.
Wow. How about compared to last year before, previous years?
Much busier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard some comments regarding capacity issues, but in general, everybody seems to be understanding of what's going on. And I think our rangers and police are doing a great job with the situation they've been dealt with. Most of the comments I've had have been very positive on what our rangers and police have been doing regarding capacity and beach monitoring. I do know that they were out there doing their job with the liquor control and things of that nature. Since we have some people here, normally we kind of have a general discussion, but I'm gonna allow comment regarding beach right now rather than wait until the end for public comment. So if there's a public comment regarding the beach review, please identify yourself and try to be as brief as possible, and so we can go on. I think Kathleen, you had your hand up, so I'll let Kathleen go first.
Yeah, I haven't had the same experience with the litter on the beach on that side, because that's where I go, as Harry has. But that's just my opinion. I felt like the litter on the beach has been really good, like not a problem. However, the issue that I was going to bring up was, I understand the parking lots are supposed to be.
What time are you on the beach?
Today, yesterday, the day before, like every day this week, every day this weekend. I've been on the beach every day.
Yeah, what time?
I go later in the evening. I go in the morning. I was there today in the evening, and I just.
Well, we're cleaning the beach at 7 in the morning, so yeah, when you first get on it, it's going to look all right.
Well, when I did go at 8 o'clock one day, and they were still cleaning it. When I saw it, I was like, I just didn't notice it, but that's just me. Anyway, that wasn't my issue. My issue is the parking lots. My understanding is the parking lots are supposed to be at half capacity. And in the morning, the parking lots are at half capacity. They've blocked it off, and there's 2 of them down there on Portland Avenue. The first one blocks it off, and then the second one is doing every other car. And it looks like they're really following the orders. But then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that tape is gone, parking lot's full, and the other parking lot is full. So they're really not following the orders, and we've reported it, to, tried to report it to Matt, but he wasn't there. We talked to the Rangers, and hopefully they gave him the message, but it just continues to happen. Do these people get fined at some point when they, because I'm hearing people complain that they can't get on the beach, and if, we're going over capacity in the parking lot, it certainly impacts the people who are at the beach. So, I mean, if we're gonna have the rule, shouldn't they follow it? I don't know.
I did put a call into Tim today. We were unable to connect. That was one of the things that I was going to ask him. But in general, there is a large illuminated sign when the beach is at capacity. The sign is lit. It says beach is capacity. And also, I have noticed that the Rangers were at the top of Hartford Avenue this weekend and instructing people that the beach was at capacity. So I think that, notwithstanding the parking lot overuse, the Rangers and police are doing what they can do in that particular situation. I'll talk to Tim regarding the parking lot capacity and see what the status is there. Any other comment? Any other public
Can I
comment?
just say,
Brian?
Frank?
Yeah.
Frank, just on this, before you go,
Kathy, follow up.
they actually did talk to them. I think it was Matt that went and talked to them, and they agreed, yep, they were going to go have capacity. They say this, but they don't follow through. And so that's what I'm saying is, like, I think they need to be held accountable. Like, they're doing a great job with, the alcohol on the beach, holding people accountable. I think the people at the parking lot just have to be held accountable. That's all I'm saying.
I do know there is a staffing issue at times. We only have so many people, and there's only so many people can do. And we have to ask the parking lot owners and operators to take on some of that responsibility. I did talk to one parking lot owner last week, or a couple of them last week, and they had some concerns, and their concern was, if they're held to half capacity, then the town lot should be held to half capacity too. So that was one valid concern. And the other concern they had is they pay for their parking permit by the parking space. So if they paid for, 20 parking spaces, they can only use 10 parking spaces. Are they going to get a rebate on their permit, or is it going to be held over to next year? And I did have some preliminary discussions with Tim on that, but I haven't had a final word on how that's going to be addressed yet. And we'll talk to Tim about the capacity issues and see what, if anything, can be done and what the potential accountability is there. The accountability, I think, is on the parking lot operators and not necessarily on the police and the rangers that are pretty overtaxed at the moment. So that's my personal opinion. Brian, you had a comment.
Yeah, if I could, can you hear me okay?
Yes, just
okay.
Address.
I think we waste our money having the town rangers down there. They're rude, they're crass. One ranger tells you one thing, another ranger tells you another. And yesterday and today, the rangers were sitting in their own special little air-conditioned car in the town parking lot listening to the radio or whatever they do in there. And then late this afternoon, there were 2 or 3 of them sitting in one of their ATV vehicles, just having a fine time. They're a waste of money, and I'm very disappointed in them.
Hey, Frank.
I'll mention that.
Frank, this is Paul Orzel. If I could address 2 things.
Yes, sir.
The first thing I would like to say, and I will not discuss any detail, but the 2 parking lot issues on Portland Avenue, I believe were addressed today, and that's about all that I can say on that. Second thing, regarding the Rangers, I totally disagree with Brian. Things are not perfect. We agree, and by next summer, we believe that the things with the Rangers will be much better. However, probably sitting in the town lot, sitting in their cruiser, was possibly because the second half of the parking lot, the part that's withheld for Frank Marotta and for Brian Cleary's employees, that was overrun. It was, someone had come out, knocked down the barrier, and waved cars in there. So Sunday and today, both the police and the Rangers are taking turns ensuring that that barricade does not come down and that section of the parking lot stays what it was designed to be for, and that was for employee use only. I just have a general disagreement with the comments made about the Rangers in general. That's all I have to say.
You gotta come down and watch them sit in the air-conditioned car. Why did they have an air-conditioned car when we're paying them to work doing other things?
I live here. I'm right across the street from the parking lot.
Well,
I don't think we should be discussing back and forth. Just let everybody make their comments and we listen.
I think that there are specific concerns, and you know, Brian, you know, you certainly are entitled to your say-so and concerns, and as is Paul and everyone else. So I'll address it with Matt at some point in time and see if there was a situation that that necessitated that. Any other comments?
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Paul.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Joanne.
I just wanted to know if anyone complained about the loud music occasionally coming from Beach Bums.
Beach Bums was had a karaoke thing going on there, and I believe that's been resolved.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Frank, I had my hand raised.
Frank?
Yes.
Okay, Frank, it's Paula Malone.
Yes, Paula.
I have two comments. I think Brian is correct, and so isn't Paul, because I think it's inconsistent. Sometimes the Rangers are really working very hard up there, and they've been courteous to me as I've entered. And I'm just saying that sometimes there have been two, and then other times there have been four up there, and I don't think there need to be four. I would like the Ranger always to be in the parking lot, especially when people are leaving the parking lot. I've seen Rangers helping people to enter the parking lot and closing the parking lot when it's full. So I think that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, when I've gone by there, I don't see a Ranger in there. And that's when in the past we've had some difficulties in the parking lot. So I would like to see more consistency with Rangers in the parking lot, monitoring people, and then definitely at the end of the day. So I think it's in both ways. I've seen good things that the Rangers are doing, and I've talked with Matt Weber up there, and I know he's trying really hard to make the beach acceptable to everyone. I have not seen a lot of trash. I've been on the beach, but I've been way down Miami Beach, and I haven't seen trash late in the day. So I'm not sure if it's trash by the fence or not. One other comment I have is I was on Hartford Avenue late a couple of nights visiting someone, and the neon sign is on and flashing all the messages, and no one is on the street. We've complained about the neon signs at the gas station, but this is right in the middle of a residential area. So I would hope that the neon sign is turned off when the beach closes. I don't know if there's a reason to have it on all night long. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Paula. Any other comments?
Yeah, Frank, I had one, Doug.
Yes, Doug.
I just want to comment. I've seen the Rangers over the years. We've had tough times. I think this year the Rangers have definitely a service to the community. It's apparent for Old County Beach. We've seen very positive things. There's always room for improvement. But this year, Matt Weber has done an outstanding job with the community. I have residents that are coming up to me saying, this is great this year. They're actually using the ATV to travel up and down the beach, make sure that any issues come about, it's taken care of. So even though we can fix some minor glitches, I think the ranger program is key to the beach. Just one thing, last Friday when this Friday when the Rangers weren't on the beach for that one day, I just sat over on Hartford Avenue for about a half hour in the morning. I couldn't believe how many coolers were being brought onto the beach. So there is definitely a need for your Rangers, and if you take the Rangers off that beach, it's going to be free reign on that beach. It's going to spill over the whole county beach, and we don't want to see it. So anything Soundview Commission can do, please keep those Rangers there. You can always tweak some of their jobs, but please don't take them away. It's vital. I couldn't believe the difference on Friday, how many coolers were coming out of that town parking lot going onto the beach. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doug. I think it's obvious. There's always room for improvement, but I think that all in all, we have to be aware that this year there was a substantial change in approach, and we're working our way through some of the issues, not only with the Rangers methodology and their admission statement, but also you throw the COVID-19 issue into the package, and it just made for a very trying time for our new resident trooper, our ranger program, and everything else. I think in general they're doing a fine job, and yes, there is room for improvement. There always will be. And I know Matt and Tim are working on that, and I've been working with them. So taking all your comments, and I will bring them up at our next meeting, and hopefully as we tweak and the year goes by, we'll get better, and next year we'll even be better.
Okay, I have one more comment, Jen. I have one more comment.
Yes,
Please.
Paula.
There's an issue of those tents or canopies, I don't know what you call them, being put up on the beach and take for quite a bit of area. When I went by Miami Beach through the kiosk and security person there, she asked if we had any tents, and we said, oh, why would you ask that? She said, well, they're not allowed on Miami Beach. But meanwhile, there's 3 and 4 on that strip of Soundview Beach, and then people came in after and they set up one big one and one small one right next to each other. So it needs to be consistent whether, no tents anywhere on the beach. I'm not sure what.
Well, yeah, I think we need to understand that Miami Beach is private property, and
There's no tents on Miami either.
They can establish their own rules as long as they're consistent within themselves. To the best of my knowledge, Soundview does not have any ruling against any of those canopy type things.
Yeah, they do actually. It's on the sign.
Okay, so
It says no tent.
We'll look into that. Thank you, Michaela.
Miami sign says the same thing. Remember when we worked on that to get the language consistent between the Soundview sign and the Miami sign?
Good. So
tents are not allowed on.
Okay.
So definitely the Miami security person is doing her job that day and reminding people no tents on the beach. But meanwhile, Soundview is 3 and 4 tents.
I'll look into that. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. I'd like to move on to our next. We have a guest with us this evening, Lauren. Say your last name, Lauren. Pardon me?
Hi.
Lauren Zielinski, right? Do I have that right?
You got it right.
Okay. Lauren has a proposal regarding a beach coastal cleanup program, and I put it on the thing here. Doug Whalen asked me if we could put this on, and it looked like a pretty interesting program. So I'm going to turn it over to Lauren to explain to us what she's got going here.
That sounds great. Thank you, Frank. And thank you, everyone, for allowing me to join this WebEx call. It's nice to see some new faces, especially around the community. I'm Lauren Zielinski. I am a resident of the Old Colony Beach Association. I just graduated from UConn. I studied secondary biology education, so I'm going to be a future teacher. And this beach is just a really special place to me. So I've been living here for the past couple months, and trying to, figure out a way we can give back and preserve our sound, which is obviously very important to all of us in different ways. So I came up with the idea to do a cleanup event, and I did a little bit of research, and I found out the organization Save the Sound. They do these community cleanup events, and they're super awesome. I connected with one of the women in charge of the cleanup events, and she gives you this whole pamphlet with everything you need to resources like bags for cleaning up. She gives gloves, flyers, promo packets, and basically what I had in mind was just our communities coming together one morning. I think Doug and I talked about maybe an early Saturday morning. We'll check the tide, maybe sometime late August, early September. All the kids are starting to go back to school and all that good stuff. And have our communities come together and
That's Harry Plout.
talk a little bit about why it's important to preserve our sound and pick up after each other, and take care of our beach, and then organize a cleanup event. So for an hour or two, our community members would go around our beaches and clean up. And the woman in charge of Save the Sound, Annalise, she said she provides.
Now you know how I feel when you're doing your trip. Yep.
So you can keep track of what kinds of trash we're picking up, and just work from there. So I think it could be a really cool way for us to get together as a community, socially distant. Like, we could be wearing masks. I don't know if that's something we could provide, but also connect with the trash company, arranging trash removal, but just a way for us to come together and talk about why it's important to preserve the place that we love so much and call home. So that is my idea for the event.
I got your literature here today, Lauren, and I sent it out to everybody on the commission. I'm not sure everybody had a chance to look at it. I do know that a number of years ago, the Soundview Beach Association did do something very similar to that. So I mean, it's certainly a program that had its place at one time. You've talked this over with the Old Colony folks, I gather.
For the most part, yeah. It's something I would definitely create a nice little flyer we can hand out or send out in an email. Doug and I have talked about it, and people are getting excited at OCB. So with that.
It certainly sounds like it could be a very nice community event to have the entire town of Old Lyme work on it, along with the beach community. How would you think would be a good way to promote this and put it together, just so we get kind of like the whole package, the whole feel for it?
Yeah. So Save the Sound, they have this registration.
Can somebody mute, please?
Yeah.
Somebody
I'm trying to find out who that is.
Is it me?
No.
We're good.
No.
I hear that too. It's like a little bit of echo.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out who that is. I'm going to mute everybody except the commissioners. I think I got everybody here. Okay, let's try that now. Okay, continue, Lauren.
Okay, so the organization Save the Sound, they provide all of this promotion information. So they give you the resources to send emails out. They give you the resources to send flyers out, and they give you the resources to reach out to your local newspaper, and just awesome stuff like that. So I feel like that's a way we could spread the word. Social media. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways we could go about it. If we want to keep it just within our community, or if we want to branch out to the town of Old Lyme, to neighboring towns, and so on. I'm open to anything, but.
So would this be for the portion of the beach from the high water mark down, or would it be from all the entire sand portion of it?
Whichever works for our community, I'm open to either.
Hey, Frank, I have a couple comments on it. This is Doug.
Yeah, Doug, go ahead.
So Lauren and I have been talking about it. One of the suggestions I gave her, and I think what we could do is we could use Old County Beach by the volleyball court as a meeting place, because that's sort of the midpoint between all the beaches and everything. What we could do is meet there on whatever day we decide to pick on Saturday morning, like 8 o'clock in the morning. Lauren, being the cleanup captain for this project, would give a nice little presentation to all the members. She would have all the information, I guess, from supposedly this coastal cleanup program, provide you with the garbage bags and the gloves and everything. I can provide the masks for people. But what we can do is do like a little, gung-ho, hey, this is what we're going to do today, and have everybody go off on their way after the meeting, and then do the little cleanup on their beach. So like Old Lyme Shores would have their people take care of Old Lyme Shores, Old County, Soundview, Hawks Nest, Hawks Nest Extension, whatever. This was my thought on it. And then they could bring everything back to, we have somebody that works for the sanitation company that lives in our community. We could get him to put a dumpster down by the guard shack for that one day. And we could get all the stuff brought back to the dumpster if that's what the coastal cleanup people are looking for.
It certainly has merit. I mean, I like the way, what you're saying. It sounds like it could be a really nice thing. I'm not sure whether dividing it up amongst Old Lyme Shores, Old County, Soundview would be appropriate. Maybe it'd be a matter of just taking the number of people there and dividing them up amongst the different beach areas, so that everybody's got a chance to be everywhere.
Yeah.
The key is that we need the Soundview Commission to support. If we're going to do it townwide, we would need your support. Even if we're going to do it for the just the beaches, it would be great if we could get your support so we can get the word out to all the other beach communities.
I agree wholeheartedly. So Lauren, this would be something that you would work on, and you would work on with one of our people, so that we can get this out through social media and through the town.
Absolutely. The one thing that we would need to kind of have in mind before you register through Save the Sound is a date. And I know with the weather, it's hard to tell in advance. Like if we had 2 dates, potential dates that would work for most people. That way you can register and let them know, so they know when to give you the resources or when I should pick up the cleanup kits and all that good stuff.
Are we looking at, excuse me, I'm sorry. Are we looking at September after the rush?
Yeah, we can absolutely. September is honestly a perfect time because, like you said, a lot of kids go back to school, everything like that. And Annalisa, the woman I was connecting with through Save the Sound, mentioned if you do it in September, they collaborate with something called International Coastal Cleanup. And it's one of their bigger events, and then they could put it on their website. And I think it would look really great for our community to like collaborate with an organization like that. So I think maybe early September.
I think September 12th, which is the Saturday after Labor Day weekend, would be a perfect date.
Oh, September 12th. There'd be a lot of traffic for sure.
What are the David? What do you think, Harry? What are your thoughts on it, Joanne?
No, I think it's a great idea. I think you got to figure out first of all which beaches you want to focus on, because obviously some already get cleaned, so there's that. And then the second thing is there is a fair amount. I mean, if you've been down here, I don't know how much time you've spent kind of poking around social media, but there's people of Old Lyme, and there have been a bunch of cleanups and kill the knotweed or nip the knotweed, right, Mary Jo, and a bunch of other things. You know, during COVID-19, people had time on their hands. And so there are a number of different resources that would be helpful. In terms of affiliating with Save the Sound, I mean, I'm not really sure if you want to overcomplicate it too much. So if you think about it, you'll probably get 20 people, has been my experience in the events that I've participated in the last kind of 3-4 months. That's a ton of folks, you know, to get a lot of stuff done. And you can have some follow-up dates as well. So just think about whether there is a need to overcomplicate it with affiliation, or whether it's simply an old Lyme event that uses Soundview to kind of get the word out. So, or Soundview Commission rather, to get the word out.
Actually, in our community right now, your biggest trash areas are right along 156, more so than the beaches, because the beaches are continually being cleaned every day.
Mm-hmm. We can open it up to even like neighborhood cleanup, or, you know, wherever people feel comfortable walking around and removing trash.
I think, you know, we could tweak that. I mean, I don't have a problem with being affiliated with Save the Sound personally, you know, as long as it, you know, doesn't complicate our lives anymore. And I did have a chance to review everything that you said. Yeah, sorry.
Posters and flyers and everything, that they're already done.
Yeah, so they would be very helpful with promotion, I think. Yeah. So what do we think now? Anything that we decide here as a commission in terms of support, I would just have to get the okay from the selectmen to provide that support on a general basis. But I could bring it up to a selectmen's meeting, the next selectmen's meeting, and get it on the, hopefully get it on the agenda. What are your thoughts, commissioners?
I agree. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm in favor of supporting it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Michaela?
I think it's really excellent, and I think that the beaches do get cleaned every day during the season, but if we did it after Labor Day, then we could be assured that the beach would be cleaner going into the winter.
Great idea. Harry, you okay with that?
I'm okay with that. There's also a need around Cabs Island and Nod Island and up that area along the Connecticut River.
So maybe what we can do is, first of all, I need a motion to support this event. And then what we can do is work with, I have no problem working with Laura and maybe Harry, and kind of working on some of the finer details, and maybe Doug, and we can kind of hammer this thing out so that our next meeting in August, everything will be established. Obviously, we'll have the promotion out in advance of that, and be able to get it out to the commission members in advance to make sure whatever tweaking needs to be done is done before we put it out in general. But do I have a motion to support the event?
I make a motion to support the event.
All right,
Second.
Joanne.
I'll second, Michaela.
Michaela.
Second. Any further discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, Lauren,
All right.
you got your work cut out for you now. So,
So much.
Hey, Frank, maybe we can get a conference call together, you, Lauren, and I, and try and get some groundwork down, and then we'll move forward with that.
I can't wait another WebEx call. Fantastic. All right, no problem. We'll touch base offline in the next day or two, and kind of start hammering out the details. I'm going to need to have something, obviously, I got to bring to the selectmen to get their approval. Obviously, we can't unilaterally approve something, but I think it's such a great cause. I really can't see anything, as long as there's no liability to the town. I don't see it as being an issue, but we'll find out. May I ask, Mary Jo, do you have any thoughts on that? I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any thoughts?
I think it's fabulous. Really, thank you, Lauren. And I'm I think working with Save the Sound is amazing. I think we'll get great PR, if nothing else. So I really appreciate it. And Frank, whatever you need me to do, our next meeting is August 3rd. So we have a little time to get it on the agenda. I'm supportive.
Super. All right, Doug, Lauren, we'll be in touch next couple of days.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go to the next item here on our list is facilities, beach use policy. I know Michaela sent out a form today. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at that? Michaela, you out there?
I am. I'm here.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, just the town already has a facility usage request form that's been in use for several years, and White Sands Beach is already on it. And I think that we should probably just have Soundview added with any restrictions on the date and the time and how we can use it, you know, how people can use it. Like, we wouldn't want people to be necessarily like using it at 12 noon on the 4th of July, you know. So I just think that, you know, you can put restrictions on it, but it should probably be part of that basic town facility usage request form.
All right, so everybody's got the form. Michaela sent it out today. Let's take a look at that and see what kind of changes or tweaks we might want to add specific to Soundview, and then discuss it at the next meeting. Is that acceptable to everybody?
That's good by me.
Okay.
And
All right.
I just had one other question. As I was reading it, I was wondering if the town facilities are limited to Old Lyme taxpayers. Like, you know, when people rent, you know, when people come into Cross Lane and use facilities there, or if they want to come into White Sand Beach or Soundview Beach, is this form limited to Old Lyme taxpayers or residents, or can anybody come in? Because the danger there is that you could end up having, you know, the place becoming a wedding venue where people from all over the place are coming in and using it week after week. And in that case, I think the town might want to look at charging a fee or limiting hours or something like that. So it would have to be whatever the use policy is for everything else. But I don't know what that is right now. It wasn't obvious from the form.
Could you check on that, Michaela, so that at our next meeting, we can not only talk about that, but we can talk about what restrictions we might put on. Could you touch base with the town hall on that?
Well,
Okay, I will.
Yeah, I think, Frank, if we just take a look at the form, it's pretty simple. And
Very simple.
adding restrictions, you know, I think it probably should be a separate form. To Michaela's point, you know, not wanting the word to get out that it's a place for a wedding, and all of a sudden, the Board of Selectmen have, you know, 50 different requests for the entire summer, you know, for
Exactly.
and then
Yeah.
and how do you turn down 3/4 of them and allow 1/4 of them, et cetera? So it could be
Exactly.
It could get a little bit more complicated.
It's something I think we're going to need to look at, and good point. I mean, you know, what's the criteria for use, and so on and so forth, and what restrictions do we want? So number one, criteria for use and restrictions are two things that I'm hearing right now. So we need to look at that form, come up with some thoughts, and maybe transmit it to each other prior to our next meeting so that we can have a discussion about that.
Yep.
Okay. Parking lot. I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead, David. Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, keep going.
Okay. Parking lot, bike racks, picnic tables. I'm still waiting for our bike rack to be delivered back to Soundview. I asked for it at the beginning of July, and it's still not back there unless it got back there this weekend. Paul, are you still on board here?
Oh, yes. I did speak with Ed, and we had a conversation. He doesn't know where it is. I did tell him that I did see in the fall the town workers pick it up when they took down the sign. That seemed to shock him. So he's still looking.
Hopefully, we'll find it soon. There are not too many places it can be in town unless somebody brought it home. It cost us, how much money did it, David, cost us a lot of money. That was a very expensive bike rack.
Yeah,
So,
$1,200.
Yeah. Shipping alone was a lot of money. It was I'll keep looking. I'll keep asking. I had some concerns with the picnic tables. We had the picnic tables nested and locked up so people could not use them. And then a few weeks ago, I asked if they can be put down and separated out, and they were. And then I was told that people weren't social distancing, so they got locked up again. It's my understanding that the town is not in a position to police social distancing, only to make sure that there's not a situation that we're providing that prevents social distancing. So, for instance, on the beach, we're not out there measuring distances between people. We're just making sure there's enough space so that if people wish to social distance, they do so. So I'm a little concerned that why our picnic tables got locked up, because there isn't enough room for them to be separated out. Furthermore, I'm a little concerned that why were our picnic tables locked up and the picnic tables at Cross Lane and Haynes Park are still available for use. So I'm trying to get an answer on that right now. You know, if ours should be locked up, everybody's locked up. It was, simple as that. Waiting to hear for that. I'll report back as soon as I have an answer.
To give back to you.
Yes, Joanne, go ahead.
I was just wondering, the other item were the cameras. Did we ever find the video cameras?
I've asked him to look into that a couple of times, and I don't think he's been able to locate all the information on that. I think that's something we might want to look at the Board of Finance, because I believe they had some information about it a couple of years ago, and there was some money put aside for that. Yeah. And that may be something now with our new resident trooper we can kind of move forward to the top of the page. There's just so many things going on this year that I think that was one of the things that. But that's a good point, Joanne. I think we're going to have to revitalize that a little bit for you.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Trash cans. So we had in our budget trash can to purchase some new trash cans on last fiscal year, and also for this fiscal year, because they got a little banged up and so on and so forth. Dave and I went out there and looked at some color codes for some new trash cans, and actually found a company that was a little bit more competitive for the cans. Now, just before we were about ready to order the cans, somebody brought up to me a suggestion, and I thought it was an actually very good suggestion, that our cans right now, as you drive down Hartford Avenue, are all lined up like soldiers down at the end of the street. Even though they're more attractive than 55-gallon drums, they're still not quite attractive enough. And so the idea was that if we can, instead of buying new trash cans, build some aesthetically pleasing enclosures for the existing cans, maybe 3 or 4 cans clumped together, and then another enclosure, 3 or 4 cans, maybe like a fence or some sort of nice wooden enclosure that comes up just high enough so that the can is still accessible, but it shows a little nicer aesthetics. So that was the thought that was brought up. I thought it was a good idea. Understanding when we originally bought these trash cans, we bought them gigantic, heavy cans so they couldn't get moved. Since then, we've had boulders put, and the reason they were getting moved is they were getting moved and people were driving on the beach. Since then, we've had boulders put on the beach, and now we have a split rail fence. So the whole idea of having these heavy cans so that people couldn't get on the beach is, I wouldn't say a moot point, but it's not as critical as it was in the past. So maybe we might want to look into some nice, pretty type enclosure for, maybe grouping maybe 3 or 4 cans together in a nice enclosure, short fence or basket weave or cedar fence or something. What are your thoughts on it, guys?
Well, I think that anything that improves the way that you approach the beach would be great. I mean, these cans were a big improvement over those oil drums that were there before. But I think that, yeah, that anything that we can do to make it look more beachy and less industrial would be great. So, yeah.
And so the other thing too, Frank, just to remind you, so we have $1,500 in last year's budget, and we have $1,500 in this year's budget to address garbage cans. So we've got about $3,000, which that should be plenty if we were to do a wooden enclosure that was anchored in some manner with maybe some doors that would allow access if Ed and his crew, want to take the cans in the wintertime, et cetera. So that's what we're dealing with. I don't think it's overly complicated. I would support the idea of using the money instead of buying cans to simply improve the aesthetic of the cans that we already have within enclosure.
I agree, Dave. And, the other thought is if they take the cans, which they didn't do last year, but if they take the cans, do they take the enclosure too? Because we do have hurricanes and severe storms and plowing and all that.
Yeah, I think the other benefit of the enclosure, and you've got to do some thinking about it. That's a good point. And having accessibility to those cans, maybe you do have some doors. But the other nice thing about an enclosure like that is it should not cost $3,000 to do what we're talking about. So to the extent the enclosure does get damaged, I mean, the cans that were already there, first of all, it does kind of look like East Germany right now. You've got 3 layers that you got to get through before you get to the beach. But if it is damaged, it's a lot more easily repaired than it is to replace. In essence, I think those cans weigh like 320 pounds each or whatever they are. It's absurd. And then we got to go through the process of ordering them. And, the shipping is as much as the can is almost because they weigh so much. So, the short comment is I do think we have to be careful about the design. But I do think it's an elegant solution to improving the aesthetics.
I agree.
Any other comments, commissioners?
I agree.
So what I may suggest is that we reach out to some local carpenter type people that might be able to give us some suggestions on what they think might work.
Encouraging graffiti on these things, and not only that, but you're creating more maintenance.
Well, I think, Harry, look, encouraging graffiti, the whole world is a canvas right now. So you got that. This is just a flat surface as opposed to a round surface. And
yeah, but
secondly, in terms of more maintenance, it is a cheap solution. If you did either pressure treat it and you did it in a nice fashion, next season you let it sit for a year, and next season you could either stain it, or clear coat it. I think that the maintenance would be not as bad as having to replace 2 to 3 cans every year that some idiot smashed into, like we've got right now. I mean, right now you go up to these things and their skins have been peeled off, and Ed has painted them the same.
Are going to damage your new idea here?
What's that?
Don't you think that the same idiots that mess up the garbage cans are going to mess up the structure?
I do think that is absolutely something that could happen, but it's easier to address if you've got this type of enclosure instead of having to replace, 1,000 pounds worth of garbage cans, of composite nature. That's my 2 cents.
All right. I think that we should probably go out and get some ideas, some thoughts from some either fence people or contractor people that might have some ideas. What do you?
Frank, is
yeah.
Eric Olson on the? Well, Mary Jo would know too. She's still on. But
he's on the community committee. Community connected. He'd be a good one to reach out to.
Yeah, he's a good start, and he's done work for me in the past. He's got a good eye for this sort of thing.
Sorry, who is that?
Eric Olson.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, he's a prominent, guy in town and does some really nice work.
No,
so
Eric.
we can look at. We'll see what he has. Do I have can I have a vote to look into this and if appropriate, move forward after we agree on a design?
Well, Frank, I think it would be okay. I don't think you need a vote to explore it. I think you need a vote to
do it.
Maybe do it, yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's going to be after we get some idea of what it looks like. Then people will be comfortable with it.
I just want to make sure we're on firm footing here. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we're okay with that. So at least I'll explore that in the next couple of weeks before the next meeting so we can look at it and have some actual ideas by next meeting. Work for everybody?
Yep.
I think we've already talked about police and security. The only other thing on a budget, which we haven't discussed, and it's the property survey. And I believe, Michaela, we had Jim, I think, did some of that work originally on putting that together. Am I correct?
We did research, and BSC did a bunch of surveying as well.
We have money in our budget to do a survey in Soundview to determine rights of ways, paper streets, and encroachments.
Right, which has not been done.
Right, but we can do that.
Of the lower of the beach area, deciding what encroachments were there, and there were several, onto town-owned property at the end of Hartford Avenue. There's a fence on town property there, and there's a couple of other things as well. But I think it was only up to the town parking lot and only Hartford Avenue, and maybe Swan as well. It was a small survey.
Well, we do have money in carryover and I'm happy to talk to the Board of Finance about it. It's been in carryover for a while now, and we haven't really, as a commission, we haven't said, oh, here's our scope and here's the folks we've talked to and that sort of thing. So it's probably in jeopardy.
Really should know where the boundaries of everything are. I mean, I can tell you that the stop sign outside my property is on my property. It's not on town property. So there's an example. And there's a lot of reverses too. There's some paper streets that may have been taken over by some landowners, and there's a bunch of stuff out there.
So
it would be know what's what.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of a redux because we go through it every year. What I'd like to do is be able to tell the Board of Finance, hey, because the need exists, but this is the progress, that we are making. And what we're going to do is we've got a scope. It's basically to identify what the town owns and any encroachments upon what the town property is. And
exactly.
we got to put together because I think we've got 20 grand. It's not going to be inexpensive to do this. And so we've got to abide by the bid policy and that sort of thing. So anything, August is when the Board of Finance votes on carryover from prior years. So Soundview Commission has 2 carryovers this year. The trash can allocation of 1,500 from last year, and then I think it's 20 grand that we've got in the survey. So it's not insubstantial, but it is a lot of work. So what maybe we can do, so we've got basically 4 weeks before that Board of Finance meeting. I mean, I'm happy to put together a paragraph of scope of work, and then Michaela, maybe run it by you and get your thoughts on it. So
That would be great.
Give you something to react to at least, and then we can put that in front of the Board of Finance and at least let them know that we've got thoughts and ensure them that something's going to happen this year. Because if we let it go another year, it's just going to go away.
Probably
Right.
lose it,
My
yeah.
recollection, we're putting away small amounts towards the survey because we knew it was going to be a large amount.
No.
So that's why it hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, no, we've got the big chunk of change. So
Yeah, well, good. We should do the survey.
yeah.
Yeah, one of the concerns was obviously the alleyways that there's encroachment. As a matter of fact, I drove through one of the alleyways yesterday afternoon, and I noticed people were parking there because it's not really well defined.
Right.
Residents were parking there. You know, it's not well defined. So, you know, okay, David. So if you put together a paragraph, Michaela, react to it, and then we can.
And then we'll shoot it out to the rest of the commissioners. Yep.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Other business. I have one other thing that I'd like to bring up. I've been talking with Tim and Matt, and I brought this subject up about 3 or 4 years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago actually, and couldn't get any traction. As a matter of fact, got a lot of pushback on it. That is use of golf carts on the Southview streets. Matt Weber is okay with it. He feels as though it can be well monitored and can be very beneficial to us. Tim is okay with it. Obviously, we have to go through some procedures. I checked with some of the towns that have it right now. It's very successful in Old Saybrook. It's a revenue source for the police department in Old Saybrook. There's some details, obviously, we have to work out in that they can only be used on the streets with speed limits of less than 25 miles per hour. The carts have to be equipped with flags and lights and things of that nature. It can only be used by licensed drivers. They have to be permitted by the town with a town plate, and obviously there's a cost involved with that. Any traffic violations would be the same as an auto traffic violation. So there's some details involved in that, but I think that there's some definite positives in that. Number one, I think that it would certainly help our business community if people from Hawks Nest or Miami Beach or can drive their golf carts to the carousel or wherever in the afternoon or the evening, and I think that might be helpful. But we also have a population in Southview that is getting a little older. Not myself, but other people are. But so it might be nice, and people have requested those in the past. I think if we do this properly and we put the right restrictions on it, and I have talked to both Matt and Tim about it, I think that it can be done very nicely, and it could be a very positive thing for our community. So right now it's kind of in the formulation stage, but I would recommend that if any selectmen or any commissioners have any feelings strongly one way or the other, or anything you'd like to see as part of the package, that you shoot me an email. I'll discuss it with Tim and Matt, and then the next meeting, hopefully I have something more concrete to bring up to the commission.
Well, this is Julian.
Yeah, Joanne.
I just wanted to say that it has been a concern of mine for our area population that's getting older, and it would be nice to have one, have the ability to use one.
But you'll have the flames painted on the side of yours, Joanne, so we know that.
Hey, Frank, this is Paul. I totally support it as well.
Who is that?
Okay.
Paul.
That was Paul.
Who is
Paul?
Paul?
Yeah.
Paul Orzell.
I would suggest Segways, but you can't get spare parts anymore.
I just have one issue with it, is that many of the private associations have trouble with underage kids driving them. And that's one thing when you have a private association, but here you'd have a state trooper basically pulling over a kid and giving them a ticket or something. We need to really address that before we put this in place, that these are town roads and it's not a private association. So people need to be aware of the consequences of using those golf carts. And the other thing is that golf carts are not allowed on state roads. And I've seen people out onto the state road with their golf carts, and it's really dangerous. So,
well, this would be strictly for, good points, Michaela. This would be strictly for, strictly permitted in Soundview, or in maybe Rogers Lake if they extend it to that area, or maybe other areas of town. If a golf cart is registered by Miami Beach or Old Lyme Shores or Old Colony Beach, it would make no difference. They would still, for them to be on a street in Soundview, they would have to be registered with the town, and as such, they would have to
go on to the state road to get there.
No, you can get from Miami Beach to Soundview by the parking lot down by where the parking lot is in Miami. So there are ways of getting there. There's also ways of getting from Old Lyme Shores to Soundview without going onto the state road. There's some pass-throughs. Whether they open them or not, that's their decision.
Okay, because that's my only concern is, you know, when the golf carts are on the state road, it's really dangerous.
Yeah, but this would be strict, and it would be fully heavily enforced. You know, if a kid's driving a golf cart and A, it's not registered, B, they're a licensed driver, they're getting a ticket, and probably the parents are getting a ticket too. I'm not sure how that works, but I do know.
I just think that we have to communicate that, because a lot of people think that golf carts are kind of no big deal and they let underage kids drive them.
No, it would be well communicated. I have been looking at the minutes of the meeting of the police commission meeting in Old Saybrook, and it's become a tremendous revenue source, and it's a very popular and very well run program in Old Saybrook. I have no reason to believe we can't do the same over here. So. Okay. That was the only other business I had. Any commissioners have any other business they would like to talk?
Frank, I may drop off. I have 2 other Zoom meetings. My computer's about to die.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring up public comment now. Are there any public comment?
Frank, Doug Whalen.
Yes, Doug.
Just to give you a heads up, when you're looking at that golf cart issue, the reason Old Colony Beach ended up going with golf carts is because we had no area for handicapped people to leave their cars down at the beach from their house. We had one handicap spot, and that was always seen to be taken. So we opted to use golf carts. One of the things you may want to consider when you're thinking about that is, do you have an area down by the beach for your Soundview people? If they do get a golf cart, will they be able to have an area to park their golf cart down by the beach and have it as a designated golf cart only parking area? And that will help your handicapped people that have golf carts get to the beach, and it will be well appreciated. That's something you should think about when you're doing it.
Yeah, we had discussed that and blocking off some places in the town parking lot for golf carts. So, but obviously it's all kind of formulation program, but that's good. One of the thoughts we had was we're going to touch base with you and Miami just to see what concerns, what problems you have encountered, and see whether it's something we need to look at.
And we have a lot of residents. In fact, just the other night, I had a resident that wanted to go to one of the restaurants on Hartford Avenue, and he said, I just can't walk down there. He says, if I can take my golf cart there, I'd be there in an instant. But so I just want to let you know that it will be well received in the communities. And all I ask is that when you're looking at that, we do have to, all of our golf carts have to be registered. We give them an Old Colony Beach plate. We also have a rule that in fact, we have ticketed this year children. If anybody under the age, anybody without a driver's license driving a golf cart, we've been issuing them $50 tickets, and those $50 tickets, they have to pay it. So we are enforcing it, and it is working. We've seen a big decrease in children park driving the golf carts. But I would hope that you would allow the Miami Beach registrations, Old Colony Beach registrations, as it's like Old Saybrook coming or Rhode Island plate coming to Connecticut. Hopefully you'll let us use plates on the beach area.
Nice try, Doug. Nice try. We'll have to certainly discuss that with Tim and Matt and see where we go. But it's all good things. I think it could work out very nicely for everybody. So
that's all I have. You guys are doing a good job.
Yeah. We'll keep pushing along. Any other comments? Any other public comment out there? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I thank you very much. Thank you very much, public, for attending and being part of the meeting. I appreciate it. And we'll
Good
see
to
you all
see
next time.
everyone.
Bye now.
Where's